Adonis was a young and strikingly handsome hunter who spent his days wandering the woods in search of game. His beauty was so breathtaking that even the flower nymphs admired him as though he were a god. One day, his radiant appearance caught the eye of Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty. She was in the forest with her son, Eros, who was sharpening his golden arrows. As Aphrodite observed Adonis, she couldn't help but praise his beauty aloud. This annoyed Eros, who grew jealous and turned away from his mother, continuing to sharpen his arrows in silence. Aphrodite noticed her son's irritation and reassured him, saying he would always be the most beautiful to her. She hugged him to comfort him, but in the process, she accidentally pricked herself on one of his arrows. From that moment, Aphrodite fell deeply in love with Adonis. She began watching him secretly, unable to resist his charm. Eventually, she approached him and asked who he was, marveling at his beauty, which rivaled that of the gods. Adonis humbly replied that he was no god, but a mere mortal. Intrigued, Aphrodite drew closer, her allure irresistible. The two shared a kiss, and their passionate love affair began. For days and weeks, Aphrodite and Adonis spent their time together, lost in each other's company. But their happiness did not go unnoticed. One spring day, Persephone, the queen of the underworld, happened upon the couple while wandering the woods. She was captivated by Adonis's beauty and felt an unfamiliar longing. However, she wasn't the only one watching. Eros, the mischievous god of love, decided to play a prank and shot Persephone with one of his arrows. Now, Persephone was also in love with Adonis. She decided that Aphrodite's time with him would be short-lived because one day she planned to claim him for herself. Meanwhile, Aphrodite grew increasingly protective of Adonis. She feared for his safety, knowing his love for hunting often put him in danger. Adonis reassured her, promising to avoid unnecessary risks. Despite this, his adventurous spirit remained strong. Unknown to Adonis, he had another admirer, one who harbored both jealousy and hatred, Ares, the god of war. Ares had long been Aphrodite's lover, and he despised the mortal who had stolen her heart. Seeking revenge, Ares devised a cruel plan. One day, while Adonis was hunting, he encountered a massive boar. Ares, watching from afar, inflamed the young hunter's desire to prove his skill. Forgetting his promise to Aphrodite, Adonis decided to confront the beast. He managed to wound it, but Ares filled the boar with an unnatural rage. Instead of fleeing, the beast charged at Adonis, driving its tusks into his abdomen. Adonis fell, mortally wounded. Aphrodite, sensing his distress, rushed to his side, but it was too late. He died in her arms. Grief-stricken, the goddess buried him, and from his tomb grew beautiful red flowers, which she named after him. As Aphrodite mourned, Hermes, the messenger of the gods, arrived to guide Adonis's soul to the underworld. Persephone, who had been waiting eagerly, welcomed him with open arms. She had fallen deeply in love with him and ordered her specters to prepare a grand reception. Adonis was surprised by the warm welcome and the queen's attention. One night, while Hades, the lord of the underworld, was asleep, Persephone visited Adonis in his chambers. Though Adonis was hesitant, fearing Hades' wrath, Persephone assured him that their secret would remain safe. With no way to refuse, Adonis gave in to her advances, and their secret meetings became a regular occurrence. Unable to bear the loss of her lover, Aphrodite descended into the underworld to bring Adonis back. She demanded that Hades release him, but the god of the underworld refused. He valued Adonis's presence and declared that he would remain in his realm forever. Aphrodite, enraged, threatened to extinguish love from the world. Without love, only bitterness and hatred would remain, even among the gods. Her threat began to take effect as relationships on Earth and Mount Olympus grew strained. Zeus, seeing the chaos, decided to intervene. Zeus called a meeting with Hades, Persephone, and Aphrodite. He proposed a compromise. Adonis would spend 1/3 of the year in the underworld with Persephone, 1/3 with Aphrodite on the surface, and the remaining third wherever he wished. Hades initially resisted the idea, but to everyone's surprise, Persephone agreed. She suggested that Adonis could return to the surface in spring and return to the underworld only as winter approached. Adonis's time was divided, but the rivalry between Aphrodite and Persephone continued. During the months he spent with each goddess, they sought to extend their time with him. Some years, this tug-of-war caused winter to linger longer, or summer's heat to stretch on. Adonis's story became a symbol of love, jealousy, and the struggle between life and death. His beauty and charm left an indelible mark on both the heavens and the underworld, forever intertwining his fate with that of two powerful goddesses. And so the cycle of seasons continues, reflecting the eternal love and rivalry for the man who was loved by both heaven and the underworld.